Alright, welcome everybody to the Northern Delinquents episode podcast.
What's up, everybody?
What's up, G's?
We lost like 4 episodes.
Yeah, so we had a little bit of an error that happened on my computer, and we lost like 4 episodes, so we're basically going to rehash just what happened and whatever.
Oh, shit. Did we actually?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, but that means we got a lot of shit to talk about today without thinking of new topics. So
we might put them unlisted eventually because we do have some of the audio saved. I could try and recover it, but it's just going to sound like a...
Tristan sounds like silent in all the tracks, so it sounds a little retarded if you listen to it, but...
And if I pull clips, it just sounds either fast or really slow.
Yeah.
Because it's like encoded or something.
Alright, we're here with Joey Diaz.
What's up, everybody?
And Brandon the Freezer.
Hello.
We're here with the... Yeah, and
We're also joined by Mike, but he's a little far away.
Hello.
And me, of course, Big Dick David on the mic, as always.
David Loops, a.k.a.
David.
Fruit Loops.
David Loops, I like it.
David Loops. I was going to say Limp Dick David.
Limp Dick David, that's not a good look for me, man.
Yeah,
I don't know.
But, you know, honesty is important.
Honesty is important, but my dick is hard as fuck every time you record, so it's just not honest.
Glossing over that, what's our first thing, Tristan?
Yeah, what
did we fuck up last time that we got to rehash?
Alright. So the thing that David talked about earlier that I think we're going to talk a little bit about was the, what was it? It was the cloning thing.
Oh, yeah.
We talked about, like,
yeah, that crazy genetic shit. Yeah, that was a good one. And I still, like, even though that was a little while ago, I still haven't heard anybody else be talking about this. So, basically, there was a scientist in China, and he was working at a university, and he did a test outside of the university. They didn't know it was happening, but he basically tested using CRISPR to change the DNA of these, I think, 6 babies before they were born, and he claims that all of them are already cured of the HIV virus, which is AIDS. And I was like, that's crazy as fuck, because if he's right, that, like, changes the world, right? That's the first time where we did some genetic tricks to make humans more powerful. Is our next evolution gonna be through our own shit? You know what I mean?
Yeah, anyways. So,
I don't see any other way that humans could evolve past this point, because we pretty much keep everybody alive regardless of whether or not they're going to forage enough berries. So, if we're going to evolve, it's probably going to be through a process that we control.
Well, if you think about the history of how, like, the physical stance of how people were, you know, look at it 100 years ago. Look at it like the frontier times from Canada to America.
Yeah, people are still evolving, but...
Well, they already evolved. It's that they were adapting to their surroundings and change.
No. It's not by...
Yeah, that's why some people are white if they're cold, black if they're hot.
No, but I mean, like, 100 years ago. We pretty much... Any evolution that's happened from 100 years ago to now has not been by any driving force, because we pretty much eliminated the need to change to our environment. We already have mechanisms that help us not die in certain environments.
Well, if you want to go back that far,
true.
That's thousands of years.
That's true,
Yeah,
but evolution takes so fucking long that over the last 100 years, we ain't doing shit with evolution. That's like at least 10,000 years.
Human
easily.
beings getting taller, we gotten on average a lot taller.
Well,
sure, yeah, but it's not so much to do with evolution as much as we're generally speaking more healthy now. Most of us have clean water. Most of us have the ability for our bodies to grow all the way instead of being stunted by some disease or like malnutrition or shit like that. So that's why we've gotten taller.
Which actually, come to think of it, is another pretty good point to say that the next time we evolve, it's going to be by our own means.
I mean, you could even consider that an evolution at our own hands.
That's true, because a lot of the time people think of human beings intervening as a completely separate thing from nature, but it's kind of just an emergent property of humans.
Yeah.
Changing shit. Like cities.
Yeah, it's true.
The same way ant hills are an emergent property of a shit ton of ants. A shit ton of humans could have an emergent property that's just cities.
Yeah, I'm not so much even interested in that. Just the fact that we're at a point where we may be on the brink of changing humans. Because picture, like,
designer babies.
By the time we are old enough, in our 30s, let's say, that we want to have kids, we might be able to be like, I want this one to be blue.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they'd just be like, okay, $20. Like, that's fucking crazy, bro.
Octopus.
Yeah. So I mean that seems like some crazy shit, but some people think it's very immoral.
Yeah.
I
want mine to be really good at math. They just give you an Asian baby.
No. But David brought up a good point because religion has repressed scientific advancements forever.
The university has come out and said they didn't authorize him to do this experiment. Many people think what he did was extremely immoral because you're trying to play God over humans. But if you really hold that stance, I mean, we already do it to all the vegetables we eat and a fair amount of the animals we eat. I don't see how this is much different. What do you guys think? Like, do you think it is immoral to change human genetics, or do you think we should just full send and go for it?
I say go for it.
I say go for it.
Yeah?
I think if we're gonna fucking destroy the entire species, it's better than just staying stagnant for thousands of years because we're too scared to move forward.
Yeah, like we haven't had a war in forever.
Hold on.
There's been so many conflicts. Like there's been more conflicts. There hasn't been any wars.
Well, I mean, there has been. They've just been quieted down.
Well, that's what I mean. Because nobody wants to take that action to like with the rise of like private contractors as well. There's that stance of like people say patriotism and then they say religion, which is why they don't want to advance it. Which is what you brought up.
Yeah.
So the fact that they think it's immoral to change to play God, but yet they're going to send somebody overseas to get killed eventually.
Yeah.
Well,
that's true.
If you want to weigh it like that.
If you want to break it down even further, there are people out there that believe that having cities are immoral. You look at like the Mennonites close to we live, but just in general, Amish people.
Funny how close they live.
Amish people have decided that God wanted us to only have a certain amount of technology, and then we were done. And if you want to go insanely Christian to the point where you don't even want to be living in the same world as everybody else, that's the root, right? And it's just weird because right now it seems like changing human genetics through this is very taboo. For one reason, we haven't experimented with very much. These kids might all die at the age of 4, even though they're immune to AIDS. We don't fucking know what's going to happen. But if we can do it, I think it'd be pretty dope.
Yeah.
I think...
Can
I chip in?
Go ahead.
I think, well, regarding the war thing, the thing that wars haven't been very prominent recently is because of the fact that they're not conscripted, right? Like, think about it like this. You have to willingly sign up, like, pretty much give yourself to the military. But back then it was like, they'd be like, hey, are you a young strapping lad and uninjured? Come with us, fight for your country, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
More
well, even in Vietnam, they were still fucking forcing people to do
exactly.
it.
Not up here, bitches. Fuck you, Americans.
Robots fighting robots.
No, but that's
suck my dick. You were all here in the 60s. I know what happened.
That's kind of a testament to how big that was. Like, even just in the 60s, it sparked a cultural revolution with everything. Like, look at drugs. Drugs was back then, like, weed for them was like fucking like crack. Like, it was like a new thing for them that they've never fucking heard of.
Is that a marijuana cigarette?
No, exactly. That was the point.
Well, they did big campaigns, and before the time of the internet, what you see on the news and the newspaper,
it was handed out in
that's pretty much
word of mouth.
Yeah, that's pretty much your facts. And when you got the president, who you basically trust all the way, unless you're a conspiracy theorist back then, realistically, what he says, you're like, okay, that's cool. And president comes on TV and says, if you smoke weed, you'll commit a bunch of crimes. You're like, I'm not going to smoke weed.
Well, he didn't actually say that publicly, but
his entire
saying it, like,
his entire war on drugs, the way the advertising was done, it was very set to try and get people to not do drugs. And to his credit, it did work for quite a while.
Well, it was a race thing in the 30s.
Yeah.
In the 20s, and
then even back then, they talk about reefer madness.
But
and
that
shit
was
like
everything. That was how cocaine started. Like, it started in like the fucking 20s in England. They called it Tokyo, and then it moved on to like just coke and whatever.
Well, if you want to go all the way back, you got opium that like Europe was shipping down to China back in fucking colonial days. Okay, that goes so far back, and they're pumping out drugs like crazy. Everyone was addicted to opium. And it's the same shit as the pills we're on now. The pills are just more refined. They talk about a drug crisis. This shit's been around since like the 1700s. Fuck you mean a drug crisis? I know.
It's called a coping mechanism, idiots.
Humans have been off this shit for the last 400 years, bro.
Yeah. No, the war on drugs has been an absolute colossal fucking failure. And real quick to loop back around.
Well, we're all proof of it.
Yeah.
Except for Joey.
That it's not working.
Speak for yourself, you fucking druggies.
Yeah, Joey, you're still underage drinking. Suck my dick.
Months left, David. Anyway, but to loop back around about designer babies, the only reason that I don't think it would be a bad like the only reason I don't think it wouldn't be immoral to have designer babies is because I can't legitimately think of a rational reason why we shouldn't design human beings.
Imagine getting a receipt with that.
Well, here's the thing.
That's
Here's
what a
the thing.
birth certificate is, Tristan. But it's just that the only reason I could see that you wouldn't want to is what if it's detrimental to human beings? But we don't know that it is yet.
Yeah, and I don't think they'll be selling that until we've done the research. But here's the thing.
The fucking invention of fire was
there's a very potential easy downside. What if this comes out and it's not crazy expensive, but it's pretty expensive? You have to be, let's say, at least middle class to afford something like that.
That is the one thing.
Right. Now, all of the people that are middle class and above are picking exactly what their kids look like and are making them immune to every disease that we know of, right? Then we're gonna have second class citizens. Then we're gonna have second class citizens because everyone who's poor is gonna be like, you're not immune to all these diseases and you look fucked up because you're not perfect like me. The shift in the poor versus rich is going to become way deeper.
Well, then we're just taking it back,
and we're gonna end up with the same lines we have, except instead of race, it's gonna be genetic.
Well, we're taking it back. Not even race; it's wealth. It's class.
It already fucking happened.
It does, but this will make it.
It'll make it way worse.
Imagine if when we went to high school, all of us were designer kids, immune to every disease, and all looked perfect except for like 20 kids in the school. We'd all be looking at them like, you ugly motherfucker. Well, you got a fever last week? You fucking faggot.
Well, that's how it was when, like, places were segregated. Like, when black students went to white schools, they literally thought they were going to get diseases. Like, they thought they were different. They were a different entire species. Like, not a race, like a species. They thought they were going to die of something.
Yeah, but that was the way we thought, and now we realize it's wrong. But we're going to be back to that. We're going to be back to that way of thinking if when scientifically that is the case.
That is going to be an actual fact.
Well, look at you know what I feel like it's going to be like? I feel like it's going to be like the movie Bright. Like, we're not going to have the species, but they're going to have people that are going to genetically modify people to look like that.
Well, the other route that would take is, see, AI is getting crazy powerful. And eventually, you know, if we don't just stop improving, which humans have never been a species to tend to not improve, AI will surpass humanity in every way possible. Because you can totally do that. And if that happens, the only route that humanity will be able to take if they want to keep economy intact is by giving everybody a base amount of income. And then by doing work, you can get more money, and it's called Universal Basic Income, or UBI. So if everybody...
Sounds like fucking communism to me, Joey.
Absolutely communism, except...
Let us know in the comments.
The only difference is that
let us know in the comments if you want Russia to come back with a fucking strong ass hit.
Here's the thing. It is exactly the kind of communism that like middle class college kids jack off to in their dorms. Because the thing is, with a UBI system, no one has to actually work.
Yeah.
The wealth is being distributed because the wealth is made automatically.
It's retarded.
Yeah, but that would only happen to like 40% of the population.
No, it happened to everybody at the same time because not, it wouldn't work. But if that were to happen, then designer babies wouldn't be a fucking problem because everyone would make the same amount of money.
Yeah, but sure. even then, I see if we get to that point where we start doing that, people are going to look at that and say, oh, well, we've crossed the line, can't go back. So then they start adding on, and then they start seeing how far... Because we're not at that level yet of, like, personalized, like, flight.
Yeah.
But the thing is that that's going to be the next step, where people are going to be able to, like, circle the atmosphere and, like, fly around, like, ships or planes that are able to go, like, just up there.
Stop. What the fuck are you talking about?
Well, because what I'm thinking is that if we cross that line where we start genetically modifying our babies... And people look at that as...
You mean we're going to be a spacefaring species?
Well, no, because people are going to look at that.
No. That is totally an option.
Okay, but wait. You can change our genetics to existing ones. But how the fuck are we gonna make this genetic makes you able to fly?
No, it's not a genetic. It's a meaning. It's a factor. People are gonna look at that and say, well, we've already crossed this line. Let's go find something else ridiculous.
Yeah.
Look at what the internet and I'll use this as an example. It started out in the 80s as something people were to use to talk and to do business and kind of fuck around with.
Like
as soon as hackers got a hold of that and people figured out
the internet
in general. Okay. As soon as hackers got a hold of that and they figure out and they push it, and then people started to get that hype where they started to follow on, and they just continue to do that and on and on and on, and it's still now.
Yeah.
Like if you tell somebody you're doing that, they look at you like you're some kind of god because you can do anything.
Exactly.
If you turn to now and you start saying, "Oh, well, we can genetically modify people," people are going to look at that and say, "Well, I can make something better than that."
Exactly.
They're going to say, "I can top that."
Essentially, what Tristan is saying here is, what if we get to a point where you can fucking hack babies?
Well, yeah.
To just be fucking
for 5 fucking
Dude,
look at the.
Dude, I just hacked your baby. He has AIDS now. Fuck you, Tristan.
I don't know. Past your AIDS wall, firewall.
How the fuck did we get down this rabbit hole conspiracy theorism shit, man?
If they can put ransomware on hospitals and make them shut down, then
a person who is completely like a person who is an expert at modifying genetic code could totally be able to make a baby that could kick your baby's ass.
Well, that's the next coders.
Yeah.
Genetic DNA coders. Yeah. Those are going to be the
next
computer geniuses.
Shit, I feel like we have exhausted this. I have one more thing to say about genetic babies, then we can move on.
What?
Okay? If we make people out of plant cells, we don't need to eat anymore. Okay? You could be a solar panel. You're like, I gotta go outside and I don't have to sleep or eat. Okay? If you made our skin plant skin, and we could do osmosis, and we could do all that shit with the sun.
That's not what they do, osmosis.
Hey.
We're gonna need like heating lamps, like in a grow op underneath.
Oh my god,
dude!
But like if you did that,
is my favorite flavor. Supplement number 53. That's the one. That's the one.
That's my favorite shade of light. Anyways, I'm just saying, plants can support themselves out of light and water. If we just had to like chug a 1 liter of water and then stand outside for an hour instead of sleeping or eating, then. I mean, like, ooh, that's mild.
But think of how basic an organism a plant is. You're talking about a human and then a plant.
Well, I know, but if you, basically, so there's animal cells and plant cells.
He's just
if you could infuse our skin cells with plant cells, we would probably never get to a point where we're completely sufficient from the sun. But maybe going outside or going under a sun lamp would be like eating a Cliff Bar. And even that, I mean, that's pretty fucking crazy.
Yo, Cliff Bars of sunlight. #plant gang, David. Plant gang.
And Plant gang. Northern Delinquents. 10% off.
Alright, let's keep going. Tristan, what else you got?
He's taking a drink. Wait for it.
Oh my god.
Okay, so this is the next subject I got
Mike,
that we didn't bring up,
the one
which I got to talk about because it was actually interesting.
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing I want to talk about. So
shut the fuck up.
Yeah, Mike, message Gabe and see what he's saying. Anyways,
I'm trying to get this shit figured out.
Anyways, so what I wanted to talk about was like the psychedelic experiences we've had, because I feel like that plays a big role into like how we're growing up and how we're seeing things.
That was a good conversation when we had it before.
It was a good conversation. Now Brandon's here, so now we got like, an actual guy.
Joey, you haven't done psychedelics. Switch seats with Mike so he can be closer because he has done
it. This is your time to shine, my man.
Alright.
Alright, so I guess let's just go around the circle. You want to start, Tristan?
Sure.
Okay.
So, I'm going to kind of keep it short because the story's not that interesting. It's like your basic trip. It almost looked like an indie film the way we were setting it up. Sitting in a camper in the middle of summer, just like in a driveway, taking shrooms. The thing I realized out of it is that it was one of my trips where it was extremely enlightening because I got to see the people around me kind of have their own dilemmas, and it was like I was observing, and it was almost like I had like a shield that was like no matter what they told me, I would still be able to like comprehend what they would say.
Yeah.
Like Gabe had a major meltdown, like he had a panic attack.
I think it's more a revelation, but yeah.
It wasn't a revelation. It was more of a I'm either gonna kill myself or I'm gonna go kill somebody. Like you don't you were there.
That one.
But you may not remember him being that way. And he was like freaking out, and he got on his bike, and he just like biked away, like he was gone. So I was standing there and I was looking at the clouds, and I could sense Ashley and I could sense Joey like over there, like just looking at them. I needed to get further away because it was like in a radiated area. Like I couldn't be around them. Like it was fucking with me. So I just stared at the sky.
Joey, want to open a beer?
And you know, it just made me see how things were. And when Gabe came back, Gabe made me think that, you know, if you open yourself, and this is gonna sound like the most hippiest shit ever, but if you open yourself to a truth that you don't understand, and you don't lie to yourself, the worst thing you can do on psychedelics is either lie to somebody or lie to yourself. Because it's not going to work well, and Liam's a very good testament to that. And that's already in one of the podcasts. But
I mean, it's probably not going to be in one that released. I mean,
no, it's in the fifth one or whatever. It's in our latest one. We talk about him.
Oh, it's already out.
Yeah, we talk about him.
I see.
We talk about him.
Oh yeah. They got fucked up at 6. Yeah. Okay.
Actually 9.
9?
I lost 6, 7, 8, and 9. I lost 4.
Jesus.
Yeah, so I'm saying they got fucked up at 6. We know shit since then. Okay, so that was a good story. Brandon, you got a good psychedelic story?
Oh, buddy, do I ever have some good psychedelic stories?
All right.
I definitely gotta say acid is my favorite drug of them all. I could live every day on acid. I do love smoking weed and doing acid at the same time. Great experience.
Guys, shut the fuck up. Brandon's a good story. You talk so quiet.
I did go through a couple crazy acid trips. I'm not gonna lie. I do use acid to think. My third acid trip was my wildest one. All I can remember is that I was chilling with a couple of my buddies and we all just decided to drop tabs and just chill at my house for the night. It was about 6 in the morning, 7 in the morning, and my friend just came back from the casino and he was like, "Hey, can I get some weed?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure, I can get some weed." Got him some weed. He picked me up. He was with one of my buddies and we went to go sesh, and it was bright early in the morning and we're going down the street and all of a sudden it's like there's a blue truck beside me, and then all of a sudden I look at the blue truck and then I could just see like us driving, and then we just drive off a cliff into the water, and that was like my first ever like death moment while I was tripping. And I had my second one that same night.
Well, you like hallucinated your own death?
Yeah, I hallucinated 2 deaths actually.
Holy shit.
My second one was the same night. I went back to my house and I tried to sleep, but my trip was still going. Like every time I closed my eyes, it felt like I was closed-eyed tripping. But one of my trips was I closed my eyes and then all of a sudden I just boom, gunshot to the head. And it's like one of those things where like you were trying to sleep and then you just woke up hella fast to that, and that was
it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, that was that night. I couldn't sleep that night for sure. Passed out at like 1 o'clock the next day.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Should I tell my acid one? Because like, if the other ones are corrupting.
You got anything else to say about it?
No, man. I love acid.
I don't think I've told you. I don't think I've told you about my trip.
Brandon, ladies and gentlemen.
So, mine. It's been such a long fucking time since this one.
Speak up, Mike. Speak up.
Oh, sorry. It's been a long time since this one. I really need to do acid again. But what happened? Like the first part was like very hyperactive. It was that kind of shit. Like it wasn't visual yet. The whole day I just was telling myself, "Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Don't think about it. Just do it."
Yeah.
And that strategy worked pretty well. Like occasionally, like I'd freak out a little bit, but like the others around me, they had no fucking idea what they were getting into. It was almost funny.
Yeah.
They were freaking out. I'm like,
getting nervous is almost the
breathe.
worst thing you can do, because the nerves are going to trigger all of the bad things you are expecting to happen. Mm-hmm. If you can just chill out before you do anything like that. That's why it's best to do it around people, because if you're talking all the time, you don't really have time to get in your own head. I think that's really the key.
And then somebody mentions it, and then we're all fucked.
oh yeah.
Yeah, my best experience have definitely been where it's like we just pretend that we didn't all just take shrooms, and then as we come up, the conversation just gets way more interesting.
You doing some of that?
No.
Yeah.
Nice.
If you have any acid, I'm down.
Oh, I wish I had some acid.
I'm getting some.
I definitely put 2 tabs on my tongue right now.
2 tabs?
I'll do it with you.
2
I'm not doing
tabarinos,
it.
my
You can do it
god.
with Ashley.
Yeah.
I'm not doing it. I gave that shit
You
up.
have a New Year's?
I might do it, but I'm not.
I'm probably gonna have a New Year's. You gonna come?
I'm gonna be here for that.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be here for that.
You're gonna be here for New Year's.
Yeah, because typically I'd be there with my mom, but she's like, you want to be there at my place on New Year's or on March break? And I said March break because I want to be at this party.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, podcast episode number 6 where we discuss our plans.
Yo, hit us up. We'll drop the address.
What's the ID?
All right, Mike, continue your acid story here.
Yeah.
The only, the best time to be on acid is when you're, outside and looking at the sky, I think. Because, the clouds just turned into shapes and it was, fucking beautiful and shit. I swear the clouds turned into eagles and, they were flying by. I'm like...
Yo,
everyone was freaking out and they were like, let's smoke some weed. I'm like, I guess. Was this not enough for you?
Yo, did you do a full tab or a half tab?
I did a full tab.
Nice. Great way to put it.
Mm-hmm.
Never do no half tabs.
Yeah. But that night was fucked up because of...
I just want to get acid drops and just drop a bunch on my tongue.
They sell them in drops.
Oh yeah, bro. You drop those on candies and you just sell the candies.
Bro, drop a
That's what they did in the 60s.
vape DMT.
Yeah, you can vape acid too.
Yeah.
You could dab acid too.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah.
Yo, question about vaping DMT. What the fuck does DMT do? I thought that was the useless part of marijuana that just cures cancer.
That's CBD.
CBD.
Yeah, my God, yeah.
The useless part of marijuana that cures cancer. That's so useless.
Stop listening to me when I'm in the car.
I don't know if y'all heard me when...
It's don't listen to Dad after he's had 3 beers.
Joey's a little bit far away from the mic right now. He just asked if DMT was the useless part of weed that just cured cancer. DMT, Joey, is the strongest hallucinogen we got on Earth.
Really?
Currently, yeah.
Does anybody want some flour? For the comments, because I can't censor it, because I'm not going to remember going fucking back.
I think that's all you, Tristan. You enjoy that flower.
I'll do something with you, Tristan.
Okay, weird.
Most people don't know this. I once snorted a line of marijuana. Brandon was there.
How'd that feel, David?
Like ass, because I was snorting a plant. For those who cannot see, Tristan's lined up a nice big pile of flour.
Someone else. It's not me.
He's going to make some pancakes.
You're cool.
We're all going to join in having pancakes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Tony lined up a nice big line of, what is that? Icing sugar? Icing sugar, eh?
What?
You should just hold it.
Yeah, okay, wait. I'm gonna get a bill. I'm gonna get a bill for you.
Oh, you can sip it if you want.
I'm gonna get a bill.
I got a bill.
Hey.
Yeah?
Alright.
I got multiple.
Yeah?
Guys, as you can hear, this podcast is going downhill very quickly.
Want my Canadian Tire money?
Brandon's just working on snorting something here. I think it's some icing sugar, but
This is
either way, they're just discussing it. Mike picked up a fucking phone call like an amateur.
No, this is too big. You can adjust it.
Yeah, I'll adjust it.
Oh shit, really?
So, David, what are we talking about without these squares?
I can talk about when I did shrooms.
Alright.
So I did it, and it was a lot of fun, and that's it. Okay, great. No, I did the tea. I'm a big believer in if you start with good vibes, you're probably gonna maintain them.
That was Gabe. He says he's
I made some fucking tea.
Yeah, he's gonna
It was pretty good. I went outside after school with a couple of homies. We drank that shit, drank a cup, and it's weird because you're in a forest doing it with like 4 people, and you really all get on the same vibe. I understand what people are saying when they're just saying one words to me. Like it was just in it, you know what I mean? I forgot that I had a job. I forgot about my family. In that moment, I was just there alone in my own world with these, 4 other people. It was a very sick experience, but I gotta say, something that no one ever talks about with psychedelics is the come down. Because when you come down from psychedelics, you get so lost in this world. And there's always a big fear for me, I'm never gonna come back from this. I am going to get high right now and then never sober up, and I'm just gonna be fucking retarded for the rest of my life. And that's very scary for me. But I've done shrooms twice now. Both times you come down. If I could give any advice to anyone who's considering doing hallucinogenics, I would say test them and don't smoke weed when you do them, because it'll make it way stronger, and the come down will take maybe a week, maybe a month. The first time I did shrooms, I smoked weed the same night, and I ended up having a bad trip. It was not fun, and I also felt very out of it for about 3 weeks. And then the second time I did shrooms, I went to bed I didn't smoke anything. I didn't do anything for a couple days, and my lost in this world sort of cleared up very quickly, almost within 24 hours. So it's my recommendation. If you do acid, test it, because it's not worth dying over.
Oh no,
and
I like M-bomb.
Don't smoke weed unless you're ready for that shit to get way stronger. Also do it outside in the daytime. That would be all of my tips. And now that they're done with their icing sugar, let's continue. What else you got, Tristan?
What's the next on the list?
Okay, if this was a concert, I just did a solo.
Yeah, no, I was paying attention. It's just I was like, oh, David's going on and shit.
Good job, David.
That's what I got for tonight.
Okay, well, we're at half an hour right now, so
You know what this is?
you want to continue it?
It's tequila. That's
Let's do another one. You got another one?
So it's a different flavor.
Whiskey bottles?
I'm trying to think of
barrels,
what I was going to
whiskey
talk
barrels.
about.
Okay.
Guys, shut the fuck up.
Hey, shut the
Fuck up.
Okay, if you're gonna talk, just talk loud enough so the mic can pick you up, and it doesn't sound unprofessional as fuck. In the
You know what I
background.
want to talk about, actually?
What do you want to talk about?
I
Tristan?
want to talk about how quickly some rumors can be spread at the right moment. And you know
Okay.
what example I'm going to use?
What?
I'm going to use that girl that died at school at Sir Will. The one who died of, like, the heart condition.
Oh,
Yeah. Don't say her name. Don't say her name. But I know who you're talking about.
I don't know how many people came up to me and said, "Oh, she OD'd at a party," and I was
On
like,
drugs, right?
I
She-
was,
she did
and
a
I-
lot of drugs.
and I
No,
was-
it was a heart attack.
Yeah, but she did a lot of drugs. she loved the yay. I'm
I'm
sorry, like, it's mean to say, but it was true. Like
Wait, who fucking
she
died?
did a lot of drugs,
I'll tell you
and like, I'm sorry if you do a lot of drugs, especially cocaine, it affects your heart. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, if you do drugs, you are like, I'm gonna get the privileges of doing drugs, but you also have to deal with the
heart attack.
the heart attack. It depends on the drug you're doing. If you do a lot of coke, you have to be
Like, she gets
prepared.
scared
Any day,
easily?
I might do a little bit of blow-cane.
Blow cane. I like that. Blow cane.
It smells like turpentine.
Hey, Mike, do you have any rolling papers?
Yeah, no, it's not good to have that in here.
I'm sorry, man.
It's all good. It's all good.
Look at these-
Just stop being a pussy. I have a pipe.
Oh, buddy, I feel like a crackhead.
look at these
Bro, it's a
fucking-
clean ass pipe. It's made of wood and shit. It's nice.
Made out of wood.
It's not.
Yeah.
You're gonna get fucking plant.
I'm gonna get a-
No. A crack pipe is like made out of glass. Okay.
Crack pipe?
This is. I have a real ass tobacco pipe that I just smoke weed out of. It's
Oh,
not a
dude.
crack pipe at all.
That's
Oh, my
classy as
goodness.
fuck.
Can I
Exactly.
do crack out of it?
You can do crack out of it, but you have to buy me a new screen after.
Oh, buddy, I ain't gonna risk buying a new screen.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
Or the heart attack.
Heart attack. Actually,
Where's Riley when you need him?
You know those
Oh,
you know
buddy.
those potions in Minecraft? How it's like invincibility for like 10 seconds?
Yeah.
That's like crack. You get invincible for like 20 minutes.
it's kind of like a
So-
chug lug.
I just started watching.
We're from different eras, Brandon.
I just started watching Breaking Bad, and every single fucking bald person I see, I think is Walter White. Like out of the corner of my eye. every
They're bald. They must sell meth.
Exactly.
I
Well,
saw-
honestly, that show is really fucking cool, and I want to cook something.
Oh.
Not necessarily a drug. I just want to do chemistry
Yeah.
shit because of that show.
I mean, like I've never watched that show, but I've always dreamed of making acid. It requires a full lab and like.
You should take a culinary arts class.
Where do they make
Yeah, because they're gonna teach you how to do chemistry now. For fuck's
I
sake.
would just fucking love to make acid one time and make that sheet and then be like, I made my own drugs.
So, David, tell me if you know this or not. Where do they make acid? Because I know that meth is like a lower states thing.
I know.
And
It's in
acid-
Kansas in a missile silo. Google it right now. It was
Yeah.
the biggest acid lab in the
So
country.
Kansas is the acid place.
It
Here's the
was
thing.
a girl in Topeka, Kansas
A lot
that
of shit's in the
joined this shit.
Netherlands too.
Yeah. Okay.
Well-
Here's the thing. With acid, it takes a lot. It requires a full lab to make, so it's not just like a RV type of thing, and it also requires an area where you can turn the lights off. You know where they used to go
'Cause acid
for
affects
photos with filters? Like they used to go
Yes.
in those black rooms.
Yes.
You basically need a black room to make acid.
Yeah.
Because it's
Really?
So-
photosensitive.
It
Yeah.
costs
Yeah.
so much money to set up a lab like that, and most acid that's real is being cooked somewhere that is a full operation. You know what I mean?
That's why
you can't buy some equipment in an RV and start cooking up your own acid. You know what I mean?
The people that do this are like set up to the point where they're secure.
And that's why acid
really
is the
funny.
most it's the most common drug to be faked.
Yes.
On the market because it costs so much to make. Like fake meth isn't as common because it's not that hard to make real meth.
It's actually cheap to make meth.
It's funny.
You know what's easy to make is GBH.
Yeah.
Gamma hydroxy fucking.
Yeah, but nobody wants to fucking buy that.
No one even knows everybody on the streets.
Everybody in Florida does. Fucking what's his name?
Okay,
everyone in Florida's gay.
Everyone in Florida is already high on meth. Okay, of course they'll smoke GBH.
It's really funny to think about that. Like different regions have their own drug making facilities. Like the lower states are all meth. And then Florida, what was it? Kansas? Kansas is fucking LSD.
Cali's got their weed.
Everywhere, every underdeveloped country is cocaine. And coffee.
That's true. Even Africa.
All basic because it's easy to make it where it's warm because you have to have the coke.
Anywhere
where
the
plants.
plant is gonna grow, it's easy to make.
Exactly. So if you're somewhere warm where the government doesn't give a fuck, like Brazil. The gut, like, holy shit, the government is so corrupt, they're like, listen, it's illegal to grow cocaine unless you give me $10 million.
Unless you buy it from us.
And the girl's like, oh, here's a random donation we're gonna make.
Why do you think Josue immigrated here, for fuck's sake? He was running away from MS-13. Like,
he didn't have $10 million.
No, I guess I'm coming to Canada.
Where the fuck is my drink now?
Brandon.
Yeah.
Is it not?
It's not yet?
Yeah.
It's good,
Oh, man. Okay, we're like half an hour in. Do you guys want to take a break? Do you want to end it? What do you guys want to do?
Hold up. Real quick, I just want to bring something up. I don't know if anybody knows this on the podcast. You know how you read like banana labels and it said Banana Republic on it?
Yeah?
And you know the like, what is it, a closed company, Banana Republic?
Yeah?
Yes, Joey,
Okay, well,
it's a closed company.
No, it's like Czech Republic, but for bananas.
No, here's the
Like
fuck.
a place?
Here's the fuck.
Banana Republic's a real store. What the fuck are you guys talking about?
Hold on.
I'm letting you know Banana Republic.
I'm getting to it, David. It's called fucking Build Up. All right.
Build it up. Things are more fast now.
So, I don't know if anyone knows this, but there was a real Banana Republic. I think it was
Everyone fucking knows that, Joe.
I didn't know. There's a real
that.
Czech
There was-
Republic.
What are you dropping new information on us?
in Cuba. I think it was one of those fucking spicy warm places.
They
They started making this. There was these two companies that started making shitloads of bananas, and they were on each other's turfs. So they had a war. One of them won out.
Banana War.
They were originally called something else, but they eventually became Banana Republic, and they had so much fucking money from these bananas.
That's why they made Planet of the Apes.
No,
that's why they made Donkey
They had
Kong
so
Country.
much fucking money from the bananas that they paved the roads that the governments were neglecting and made like phone towers and shit for the country. And eventually it got so bad that they overthrew the government and became a republic that was powered by their banana trade.
Kingdom.
Did they have monkeys with darts?
Banana powered
Kind of like El
turbine.
Chapo, like he kind of did everything for his
Don't
family.
say that
and shit
about
like
black
that.
people.
Okay, so
And
apparently...
that's why
No, it's
gun
balloons
magazines
carried
are shaped like
fucking
bananas.
flags.
Alright.
That's why gun
You
magazines
ever
are shaped
wonder
like
why they
bananas.
changed the
Yeah.
gun emoji to a water gun emoji?
Alright.
Honestly, I think we should do a break.
Listen.
Shootings.
Let's do a quick break. We'll be back in a second with probably a new person and a new topic. We'll be right back. Well, it looks like we are back, motherfuckers. But, we thought we'd be back to continue the show. Unfortunately, a lot of powders were done, a lot of drinks were drank.
Yeah, it's not the greatest time, but...
Nobody ever came back to that podcast. I forgot we recorded it. It was bad. But listen, this episode's over, and we're going to be back with a new one soon as shit. Thanks for listening to the podcast I did a week ago.
Thanks, guys. See you later.
Peace out.
The most violent of the violent is crimes we give.